Morning Exercises, February 10th. Be sober. 1 Thessalonians 5:8. This stands opposed to bodily excess, and especially to drunkenness. It is painful to think that it should be ever necessary even to mention such a subject among those who ever profess to be Christians. The Spartans presented to their children intoxicated slaves, that seeing their beastly demeanor they might detest the vice. Some pagan legislators inflicted a double punishment upon crimes committed in a state of drunkenness. Christian lawgivers and judges are not equally wise and just. For how scandalous is it to hear men in the court of justice allege their intoxication to extenuate, if not to justify, their conduct. Drunkenness takes away the man and leaves the brute. It dethrones reason. It covers the wretch with rags. It reduces his wife and children to want and beggary. It impairs appetite, produces trembling of the limbs, and such sinking of spirits as compels to the repetition of the offense, so that physically as well as morally it is almost impossible to cure it. Let me therefore guard against it, and not only in the grossness, but the guilt. Some professors of religion seem to think they are not chargeable with the sin if they can keep their eyes open and walk from the dining room to the tea table, not considering that every indulgence beyond natural relief and refreshment is vicious, and that the Scripture peculiarly condemns those who by gradual training have made themselves strong to drink wine and to mingle strong drink. Let me therefore beware of the encroaching degree. Let me put a knife to my throat if I am given to appetite, and instead of being filled with wine wherein is excess, let me be filled with the Spirit. But the pure and holy religion of Jesus, when it says, "Be sober," forbids much more than this vile and offensive practice. It enjoins temperance in all our appetites, desires, and affections. It extends even to business. As a man may be entangled, so he may be intoxicated with the affairs of this life. And how often do the cares of the world and the deceitfulness of riches choke the word, and it becomes unfruitful. A Christian may be too mindful of earthly things, too alive to fame, too anxious to join house to house, and add field to field, and to load himself with thick clay. As a man inebriated is unfit for the duties of his station, and is obliged to be confined, so it is with those who set their affection on things below. They are unqualified for their high calling, and cannot walk as becometh the gospel. Seekest thou great things unto thyself, says Jeremiah unto Baruch? Seek them not. Let me reflect in the light of Scripture and observation on the vanity of worldly things, their unsatisfactoriousness in possession, their perishing in the using, the many and hurtful lusts to which they expose the owner, and let my conversation be without covetousness, and let me be content with such things as I have, for he hath said, I will never leave thee nor forsake thee. Sleep is a natural and necessary refreshment, but we may be excessive in this as well as in any other indulgence. And alas, how often are we so, even to the injury of our health, as well as the waste of our time. Recreation is allowable and salutary, but we may exceed the bounds which the redemption of time and the repairing and refitting us for duty can only allow. Paul exhorts Timothy to be sober-minded. How intemperate are some in their opinions, and opinions especially in religion, that regard inferior truths and subjects concerning which the understanding meets with the greatest difficulties. Some are eager and rash and positive in all their judgments, and nothing is too absurd or ridiculous for their adoption. Again, let me hear the apostle. I say to every man that is among you not to think of himself more highly than he ought to think, but to think soberly. Let him not overrate his station, his connections, his abilities, his usefulness, his performances. If a man think himself to be something when he is nothing, he deceiveth himself. Finally, let me not forget how obviously, as well as extensively, I am to discharge this obligation, nor lose sight for a moment of the argument by which it is enforced. Let your moderation be known unto all men. The Lord is at hand.